made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. Before we dive into this powerful episode, please remember to subscribe to our channel and give us a 5-star rating on iTunes and continue hustling. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 288 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I am your co-host, Luke Millette, and here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Austin Lawrence, and if you want to hear a true chiropractic Odyssey story, stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. This is episode 288, and before I introduce our esteemed guest today, Dr. Austin Lawrence, coming in from England today, I just want to let you guys know the tenets of our show. We do protect the sacred trust, and we do protect free speech in the chiropractic profession, and those are very honorable things that we get a chance to do, and it doesn't even seem like work. So with that being said, welcome to the show, Dr. Austin Lawrence.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for all the great work you do in promoting the profession of chiropractic. It's appreciated.
Yeah, I know early on you said that it took you to about 30 episodes before you realized that I wasn't a chiropractor.
True. And like I said, you speak more passionately about chiropractic than a lot of chiropractors I know. So I was kind of shocked when I found out you weren't one.
Yeah, and you know that's the innate intelligence that flows through me, is it's to tell the truth about something that I love and I believe in. So it matters, and I think that the more that people hear your narrative today, it's going to be super important, because not only has it taken you a journey to become a chiropractor, but your story is going to be quite different than most people's when they think about becoming a chiropractor. So I know it's been an 18-year path for you. So for everybody out there, maybe it's practice members, maybe it's family members, maybe it's colleagues, maybe it's friends, maybe it's guys that you went to high school with or college with. They're going to hear this. So let everybody know and catch them up to speed on your chiropractic story and what influenced you to become a chiropractor.
So I wish I had one of those amazing chiropractic stories like you see some of the guys, or a lot of the guys, you know, they're like 3rd, 4th generation chiropractor, or they had chiropractic as a kid and it was a miracle, and it's like, I want to be a chiropractor. Mine was a little different. I actually, looking back, I think innate or the universal told me to be a chiropractor. I remember as a primary school kid, my dad used to be on a committee of a social club, and next door was Oxford Chiropractic Clinic. And had a huge sign outside. I didn't know what a chiropractor was, but it looked important. Had big letters, shadows on it, big important sign. And it's a house converted to a clinic. So I'm looking at that going, wow, no idea what it is, but it's important. Absolutely mesmerized by it every time I walk past. And I would walk past hundreds and hundreds of times. And we go outside to the social club and you can see the back garden with the most immaculate lawn. And again, mesmerized by it. So I think that was universal, saying, be a chiropractor, be a chiropractor. But at 9 years old, yeah, I'm not listening. So back in, I'd always been really sporty. Back in 97, I quit a full-time job because it sucked. It was a rubbish job. Pay sucked. And I went back to college and I wanted to be a personal trainer and a sports scientist. The only problem is 2 weeks before the course started, I tore my hip flexor, and that just escalated. So 2 years at college, just injury after injury after injury. So hip flexor first, had impingement in the opposite shoulder, pulled my hamstring and my groin on the left side at least half a dozen times each, ankle injuries playing sport. I've lost count the amount of times I've rolled my ankle. And then during the course, we had to do a course with the Football Association England, or soccer, as you guys call it. And the guy who taught it, he was just finishing his chiropractic degree. So he was a FA physio, and he was just becoming chiropractor. So I wanted to be an artist originally, years and years ago. I can draw, so I drew every joint, muscle I'd ever injured, and it covered the whole body. So he pulled me aside one day and said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm going to be a sports scientist." And he's like, "No, be a physio or a chiropractor." But he's like, more chiropractic than physio. So I had loads of offers to go to uni. I declined them, and then applied for physio. Got declined, thank God. And then worked for a year, and then did a sports therapy and personal training diploma, and then ended up working with the chiropractor at a semi-pro football club. So I worked there with him for 3.5 years. And I started having adjustments from him, and my injuries started clearing up. So hamstring injuries just gone like that, groin strains, and they were pretty much a thing of the past. And then I got into the chiropractic degree, and the profession was in a bit of turmoil then. The Chiropractic Council had just come into existence. Colleges were being closed left and right because they didn't meet the criteria. So I got on to McTimoney, and it was a 4-year degree. This is 2001. I'm working full-time in GNC at the time, General Nutrition Centre, as an assistant manager. I'm working part-time reception in a gym 1 night a week, and 2 nights a week I'm working in a pharmacy, in a chemist shop, serving people, and doing my degree on top. And then a month later, I met my wife. And then I burnt out completely. I was a mess. A load of food intolerances, would fall asleep in lectures. So 6 weeks before the end of year exams, I quit and just kind of recovered. Went back and applied again, and I did another year on. So it was a 5-year degree, and it was conditionally accredited. And we end up losing the accreditation. But along the way, a few things happened. So before that happened, I got married halfway through. My wife fell pregnant on the honeymoon, which was planned, but not that soon. So that was like financial stress. You've got one more mouth to feed, only one wage coming in. Things were difficult. And then I'm not going to talk about everything that happened because it would be a 45-minute podcast just on my story. I was involved in a car crash. Insurance didn't pay out. The replacement car then got stolen and burnt out. And then, we lost the accreditation end of year 3. So three weeks before the end of year exams, we lose the accreditation, which was all politically motivated to cause as much harm to the college as possible. A third of our year left, went to osteopath colleges, and one went to another chiropractic college. So a lot of damage was done then. And after a year-long legal battle, we eventually got the accreditation back. But by that time, things had got even more difficult. Wife's still on maternity leave. Son's getting older. And I ended up going bankrupt in my final year. And then I got behind on my course fees. So I eventually finished the degree, but I owed 2 years course fees. So I didn't officially finish. But even my clinic exit was a retake. So I'd sat in as a patient for a colleague, and they'd asked them a set of questions. I'm thinking, well, I don't need to remember them. They're not even going to be stupid enough to ask me those. And they did. So I flunked it. So I then had to do a retake. And at the time I had a tooth abscess. And I'm really sensitive to opiates. So I was on codeine, I was on another painkiller, 2 antibiotics, and I was in waves of like euphoria and then nausea throughout the whole exam. And the tutor's just grilling me, and I'm like, and I'm answering them, and I'm smashing it, but it's capped at 40% because it's a retake. And then finally he goes, "Yeah, you've passed." And I'm like, thank God for that. But I wasn't going to be a chiropractor anytime soon. So I went to the locker room and just cried. And I couldn't even have a beer to celebrate because of the medication I was on. And it was the most anticlimactic day of my life. And I won't go into more detail, but cut a long story short, between me finishing my degree and then practicing, there was an 11-year gap. And in that time, I cracked my head open, broke my ribs, had a bike accident where I smashed my elbow, had shoulder surgery, had a lipoma the size of an egg in there removed, left me a weakness in my lat, my tricep, another bankruptcy, 2 miscarriages, depression, just broke me. And then, life started getting a bit better and eventually paid it off and registered. So it was the longest, if I could have made it the longest and the hardest way to finish a degree, I did it.
Wow. That is quite the journey you've been on.
Yeah, that's the watered down story, because it's longer and more detailed.
Well, we're glad that you're here to be with us today. It's quite a lot of things to happen.
Despite the odds.
So, what would you say is your favorite way to get new patients into your office?
So after waiting all that time to become a chiropractor, I was just head down. I was managing a gym at the time. I was working part-time in a clinic because our clinic's below our gym. So I just worked all hours around the clinic, and I started going into businesses, doing health talks and posture screens for businesses before COVID hit. We'd do spine screens in the gym, talks at local colleges, and just spine screens outside supermarkets in the town centre. And it's like, right, head down and get noticed and get busy.
Yeah, it's quite important to understand where you've come from and to realize that you are a doctor of cause. And DC is a big distinction. So congratulations on getting to where you are today and having the capacity to serve the way that you do. And I know that we were off camera and you were mentioning how things have started to amplify for you as running your practice now. Do you maybe want to touch on that a little bit?
So there's been a lot of change since we opened. So this week I'm 2 years full-time practice. So I was a couple of months part-time until I just gave the gym job up. That was scary, going from a guaranteed wage to if I don't make it this month, I'm going to struggle to pay my rent. All the money I'd saved went into paying my fees off and registrations and insurance. I didn't have a penny to my name. So I just worked my butt off. And then the week I went full-time, I had 56 appointments. So the senior chiropractor here, she didn't work here at the time, but she's the fiance of the boss who owns the gym. So she was helping a lot behind the scenes, giving me guidance. So it's just me for the first 6 months, and then 6 months into full-time practice, COVID hit. And where we are in the clinic, we had a yoga studio and a chiropractic clinic. And then because of COVID, we couldn't keep the yoga studio, so we closed it, which sucked for the yoga side, but we benefited from. So the yoga studio became an open plan adjusting area. And then my colleague came on board. She left the job where she was working, even though she was overseeing in the background, came on board and it just exploded. And then 6 months later, we took on another chiropractor. And then we took on a full-time CA, then another CA. And one of the CAs just got promoted to practice manager, and she's going to be training to be a chiropractor next year. So it's gone from one room, which was for consultation and adjusting, to we've now got 3 consult rooms. We're getting an X-ray machine in what was the old consult room and treatment room, and we've got 2 open plan adjusting areas. So we're now seeing about 400 people a week.
Wow.
Yeah. But after waiting 18 years, COVID was a blip. I just got my head down. And I commented on one of your Facebook posts a while ago because you had Tim Young on there. And I just watched loads of your videos to get my mind right. It was like, after what I've been through, COVID wasn't going to beat me. And I came back and changed person. And had the bit between my teeth and just went for it. And we've just grown ever since.
Well, I'm looking forward to the next interview when you say you guys are seeing 4,000 a week.
You never know. We've got to do it now. You've set the bar.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is sponsored by Imaging Services, Chiro Health USA, Chiro Moguls, Chiropractic Rocks, True Weight Solutions, Pure Chiro Notes, Titronics, doTERRA, Sherman College of Chiropractic, SCED, New Patients in a Box, the Influencer Authority Podcast Training, and Prime Spine Consulting. Let's hustle. But it's really cool to see that you've been able to put your intention towards one thing, and that's being a chiropractor, and that's keeping the doors open and serving your community.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful story, man. And that's really the chiropractic story that it all leads up to, is the part that you didn't share in the first question. You shared on that second question is, if you persevere to become the healer and you open the space and make it real for the community, then the community shows up. And then the law of attraction brings other practitioners, and the law of attraction creates future chiropractors. And that's what happens when you energetically shift from struggling to thriving. And that's really cool to hear that the story is getting more fulfilling for you after the long fought battle to become a chiropractor and to hold the space that you do now have, and seeing what's happening, for not only the community, but for you, and keeping your faith strong.
It was weird. Some people said, "You're mad. Why did you wait that long? I would have just done another career." It's like, I don't want another career. I don't want to be on my deathbed knowing that I never practiced as a chiropractor. It's like, it's bigger than me. Yeah. If I cared about just having a career or making money, there's plenty of things I could have done. But once I'd started a degree, it's like, this is part of me. Just took me a while.
So you take care of a lot of people, but what are you doing for your own health and your family's health?
So me personally, great thing is I get a free gym membership at the gym upstairs. So 6-7 days a week I'm training a mixture of cardio and resistance training. Because of my extensive injury background, and I'm 44 almost, I wake up every day, do tons of mobility work, activations. Mental health wise, when I get up in the morning, I don't look at anything. I don't look at my phone other than to turn the alarm off. Hydrate, do some movement prep, breath work, journaling, or read a chiropractic relevant book. Wife goes to the gym on certain days when my work schedule allows. Youngest son's really into soccer now, and the oldest son, he's almost 17, so he's just started college. He's doing a health and social care course, but when that's over, he's going to train to be a chiropractor. So my one goal was, it's going to be bigger now, but my first goal was inspire one person to train to be a chiropractor. And it's going to be a family member. So that's awesome.
And what are some of your favorite ways to stay connected with your practice members and your community?
So the good thing is things have started to open up sort of post-COVID. Well, not post, but restrictions are lifted. So my colleague today, she did a Zoom call with the local further education college. She did a talk on gut health. We've got some talks booked into the clinic, so I'm going to do one on posture, but especially forward head posture, and not just related to pain, but brain function. There's some research came out in April this year where it shows improved glucose metabolism in the brain if you correct the forward head posture. And you get faster transmission of nerve impulses around the central nervous system, and increased blood flow to the brain. So short term, you're more productive. Long term, there's potential to stop degenerative brain diseases. So really interesting stuff there. We're going into the college one of the local colleges next 10 days, 2 weeks to do posture screening. We'll start doing more corporate stuff again while we're allowed out and back into the community. And then, weather permitting, we'll go into our market square, do posture screenings there.
So where do you see chiropractic going in the next 20 years or so?
That kind of depends how you wake up feeling in the morning. Sometimes you read something and you want to bang your head against the wall. You've got kind of the quackademics have infiltrated some of the chiropractic colleges and the more kind of medipractor route. But then, inspired when we've got the Scottish Chiropractic College opening soon, and then that inspires you. But, it's in a shift from, a lot of chiropractors I spoke to in the past were more mechanistic, but there's a lot more kind of coming up who are more vitalistic and being more vocal. So hopefully, they drown out the medipractor type ones. So if stand up, be more vocal, then we'll see a rise of more principled vitalistic chiropractic.
Well, if you were the last chiropractor on the planet, would the profession survive?
It would have to be down to me, wouldn't it? You'd just, wow. You'd have no choice, would you? But then, it doesn't. You don't have to be the last person, do you?
No,
to stand up.
But you have to have the last person's state of mind.
But you have to have that state of mind, yeah. So, or gun to the head analogy, it's like, if you don't stand up for this, you pull the trigger.
Yeah, I think that it's very, it's a real thing. It's a real thought, and it's a real space that we have to control. And as you said, that there's a movement of infiltration with a medical model inside of a chiropractic model. And that's a real thing. And chiropractic, the reason that it's so attacked and infiltrated is because it's so hard to control, because it's so pure and real. Yep. And that's the reason that everybody wants to have their hands on the chiropractic messaging and truth, because it comes from a source that's so pure and real that other people want to parcel it away and make it theirs. So it is important for the chiropractic profession to be very vocal about what is and what isn't chiropractic, as this whole confused, weird era that we're a part of right now unfolds. So chiropractors have to be loud and proud and say, we do this, we don't do that. And you guys can do that, but we don't do that. We've never done that. And we won't continue to think the way that agenda is rolling out. We're going to be chiropractors, and we're going to treat people with the location, detection, and correction of vertebral subluxation. And we're going to connect man the physical to man the spiritual. We're going to talk about innate intelligence. We're going to talk about the nervous system. We're going to talk about how the nervous system connects to the immune system, and how the immune system connects to the organ system, and how all systems are better off when a person's unsubluxated. And I think that if we can take the conversation back and say, you guys can have your conversations about what you believe healthcare to be, and that's fine. You guys have done that since the beginning of your medical agenda, but our conversation goes this way, and you guys should support us, to be honest with you, and support the mission of least invasive. And
they talk about a lot of the evidence-based guys. They talk about more conservative, least invasive approach. It's like, that's chiropractic.
Mm-hmm.
If you're strapping, taping, ultrasounding, massaging people, that's more invasive than, a simple adjustment.
Mm-hmm. And the Hippocratic oath is to always do no harm.
Do the least harm or do no harm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also, the pain science guys, they're trying to fit chiropractic into a pain-based paradigm. It never was. You didn't get the pioneer chiropractors go to prison because chiropractic was good for getting rid of sciatica or neck pain. Now it's phenomenal at getting rid of those, but they went for a principle, and that was the chiropractic united man the physical, man the spiritual. It was more than just pain.
So, as you've been on this journey that you've described at the beginning, who have been some of your mentors or your heroes? Who've been your inspirations to be where you are today?
So, funny enough, everybody who's been a mentor to me is they've all been military trained. First guy was the guy at the football club. He was in my college, got me into it. He was in the RAF. Dr. Chris Perkins. Then I did a sports therapy course, and the guy John Gibbons, he's an osteopath. So osteopaths in the States, I think they practice a little bit different than they do here. I think so because of the history over there. They went kind of aligned more with medicine, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So an osteopath will probably practice a little bit more like a chiropractor or physio in England than they would in the States. So he was my sports therapy tutor, so he had a massive influence on me. And then in the fitness industry, there's a guy called Dax Moy. He was the highest paid personal trainer in the country at the time. He was ex-Army, ex-Marines. And then more recently, I've joined Tim Young's coaching group. And we know that he was in the Marines for a bit before he got discharged for a back injury. So they've all been massively influential on me.
Well, if you could pick anyone from history to have lunch with, who would you pick?
I mean, you know what, I thought I'd answer this, and then
You don't have to say Jim Chester. It's fine.
Wow.
Man, it's a tough one. I mean, I discussed it with a colleague even this morning, and they're like it's D.D. Palmer. It'd have to be. It goes to the source himself. I've read that some of the study came up with channeled through spirits, and it's like, how do you get to that state of being where you're channeling? And it's like mind blowing. So it'd have to be D.D. Palmer.
I think getting a chance to talk to chiropractor number one would be a huge inspiration for anyone. And a lot of times we hear people say BJ, and I think that that's really also somebody that the chiropractic world has become sensationalized by, but really chiropractor number one would be somebody to hold some space with and to see what was really going on, and to ask why he didn't want the world to know about chiropractic and why he wanted to keep it a family secret. I think that would be one of my most favorite questions to ask Dee.
Yeah, because BJ, he made it a bit more palatable to the public, but DD was more kind of spiritual, all about vibration, tone, whereas BJ toned it down a little bit so he could market it to the masses. So yeah, DD for me.
So maybe you could share with us a couple of miracle stories that you've seen happen in your office.
So it's like sometimes I wish I had the miracles. Like you hear some people, they've gone into ICU wards and adjusted a baby's atlas, and all the levels of monitors have come down. So I've had nothing that profound yet. Two stick out. So I had a guy who we did a free posture screening in the clinic, and my boss thought he was blind because his son had to help him up. And he woke up one day 2 years previous and leg numb and kind of lost the ability to walk with zero pain. And he'd had an MRI in the UK on his neck, and they said he had cervical myelopathy. And then he'd had an MRI in India in his lumbar spine, but they didn't know what was going on. Within 2 adjustments, he started walking better again. And with several, he's pretty much walking properly. And that was about a year ago. So I'm only a year in practice, and you're like, wow, I know this stuff works. It worked on me, but I didn't have the experience to say what I do works. But still, one of the most profound things it's not miraculous because we know the power of chiropractic, but it was one of the guys from the gym used to teach classes for us, and he couldn't contract his bicep on his left side. When he flexed his arm, consciously he was flexing it, but you touch the muscle and it was kind of not even moving. Same on his bicep, tricep, his lat, his pec, and his rhomboids. And so we got him into care. And it was today, I'm only 6 months into practice at that point. And it was the best adjustment I've ever given. And it was C2 I adjusted on the left. and my CA was in the room at the time. And I rocked that C2, and the noise he made, I went, something amazing's happened here. His eyes opened like that. I think he saw God that day. And he just lay on the bench, just eyes glowing. My CA just turned her head around and went, wow. It was almost like the atmosphere changed in the room. It was almost palpable. And he was just doing this. And it was like, about 3-4 minutes later, it seemed like an eternity, but after a few minutes, he got up and was like, he was changed. And then he flexed his bicep, his tricep, every muscle just went bang, came back on. And C2 doesn't innovate any of those muscles. And then the best thing about it, he told everyone. He used to be an estate agent in the town, so he knows loads of people. He told every man, woman, and child that would listen. I got about 7 new patients out of it. But that was the best. Still the most precise. Just everything about it was perfect. And but he saw God.
Well, yeah, if you ask me, I'd say you're the miracle story that you're still practicing after everything you told us prior.
Yeah, it seemed a lot longer than all those years. I had a full head of thick black hair when I started. So use my hair.
Well, we're just about at the end of our interview together. Where are some places people can go online if they want to learn more about you and your story?
I've been a bit quiet on social media. I've got my own page, Dr. Austin Lawrence DC. I'll start posting there a bit more regularly. There's also, the clinic name is Results Align Chiropractic. You can find us on there as well. And same name on Instagram.
All right. Well, Dr. Austin, I want to thank you for being our guest today. And yeah, this was a good episode, and I'm sure our viewers will find it quite valuable.
Excellent. Thank you for having me. And once again, thank you for everything you do for the profession. We really do appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we'll just keep on carrying the torch for free speech and chiropractic, and protecting the sacred trust, and supporting subluxation-based conversations, and keeping the lexicon alive when it comes to the tenets of the language of chiropractic. So I believe that we can't forget our past, and we have to perpetuate our future, but chiropractic is the future. And I really believe that what you are accomplishing over there can be the benchmark for the future of chiropractic. So let's just keep on staying strong together, and staying in step, and protecting the sacred trust. And with that being said, we want you to have a great night, because I know it's nighttime over there in England, and it's midday for us over here. So enjoy your evening, and keep on hustling, man. And look forward to talking to you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.